What is a faux pack today? Hold on. I went to go see the Finest Freddy's 2 movie. Well, not today in terms of when this video is posted. As of December 5th, I went to go see the FNAF movie, and it is better than the original. Let me tell you. Okay, so I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty, because obviously I'm not going to remember an hour and 44 minutes of stuff, but I can tell you some spoilers. A little bit out of order. Okay. So first off, Abby is dealing with shit at school, and she's being bullied by the teacher. I'm glad that they made the teacher unlikable. Because he is the only death of this movie. Which I personally just feel like... I don't know, man. Me personally, even though I absolutely adored the movie, I loved this movie. Definitely better than the original. It definitely was more PG-13 than the first one. Mainly because you don't see dead bodies, really. So, yeah. Abby's dealing with stuff at school. Mike is dealing with Abby trying to go back to see her friends. And, you know, obviously Mike doesn't want her going back because obviously the place is abandoned, it's damaged, it's ripped apart, put away, powered down, deactivated. If you understand that reference, you're a real one. But no, in all seriousness, that's mainly Mike's storyline, which, you know, I feel like Mike was pushed to the side a bit in this movie. Which, you know, fair enough. There isn't much you can really do with Mike besides making him just, you know, the main character. Because he is based off of a faceless character that really only had a name. He never really had any character. So it's kind of hard to write a character that didn't have a character. But they did better than I think most would. Definitely had less of a character in FNAF 2. They tried really hard to make his character a character, but, you know, Abby definitely was the mainstay. So, anyway, to skip to the part that starts off everything, Mike tries to cheer up Abby because obviously he's not letting Abby go back to the location. Or he tries to tell her lightly that her friends are not there. The animatronics are not there. Or they're broken. And this part kind of confuses me later on. But, yeah, so Mike is, like, trying to cheer her up, acting like, she won 1 million tickets. What would she like to buy? She looks at all this stuff, you know, cute moment. She finds a Faz talker, which is, you know, was all the marketing for this movie. And she takes it home, obviously. It starts talking to her in the middle of the night, and she's like, oh, crap. This is awesome. Here's the part that kind of confuses me about the plot. This movie is awesome, right? It ties up loose ends. It makes new ends, and it's a fantastic movie, despite its flaws. And this is the first one. I don't know how the marionette was able to talk through the fast talker to Abby. It was at the original location. It was at the first movie's location, not the original. So that part kind of confused me, but you know, the puppet is really powerful in this movie, as we'll get into later. So, ignoring that part, the puppet is luring Abby to the new location, acting as the child spirits that Abby was friends with in the first movie. And that's when we get the reveal of Toy Chica. And I'm going to say it, Megan Fox did an amazing job voicing Toy Chica. They all did. And I'll get into that later. She sounded exactly like Toy Chica. She sounded robotic enough to where there was little emotion, but it had enough emotion to like lure kids, which, hey, they did good. But anyway, so then that's happening. Before that, we find out, or Abby goes to this science fair. Abby goes to this science fair. She builds the like prototype Chica after seeing Toy Chica for the first time. So she went back. She built the original Chica like mini animatronic, and then she goes to the science fair. I'm happy this teacher got what he deserved. I forgot his name, Mr. Wilson. I think his name is Mr. Wilson, if I remember. He is being a dick to Abby, and he's like, "Oh, Abby, there's no booths for you." She sees one, and he's like, "Oh, let me see this," and then he purposely drops it, and I was like, "Oh, you shithead." Then I started to go on to the animatronics side, because I'm like, "Oh, okay, so he gets what he deserves." So yeah. Then she runs to Toy Chica, hugs her, and Toy Chica's like, "Yo, you need to like help me with this. I can't leave without a code," which I fucking love that explanation. I think it was confirmed like years and years ago, but people forgot. But the animatronics cannot leave because of a certain code in their programming. And the puppet is forcing Vanessa, is forcing Vanessa to help her. Vanessa gives the code, so then Toy Chica doesn't hurt Abby. And then that's when we get the reveal that they can leave. And then Abby brings Toy Chica to the school, and that's when all hell breaks loose. Toy Chica is there stealing the show, and Mr. Wilson's like, "Oh, this is an abomination. Oh, fucking God." He didn't sound like that, obviously, but he had the attitude of fucking Napoleon Dynamite. But he goes out in a huff and a puff because he's like, "Abby, you're an abomination to science." And Abby's just like, "I don't give a fuck. I have friends." But then Toy Chica's like, let me go see what's inside his head. Which is hilarious because of what she does. She grabs the teacher by the head and crushes him. They obviously didn't show the head crushing because it is PG-13. They kind of pulled a Max in the first one where you can kind of get the idea of what happened, but they mainly showed like his body flopping on the floor. And that's the only death of the movie, which is sad. I mean, it's a deserved death, don't get me wrong, but it's the only death of the movie other than obviously Charlotte. Bro, this movie is so good. And then that's when we get the reveal that all of the animatronics are out and they're going door to door. Kind of like, it reminds me of Special Delivery. I think that's, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to make an entire theory about the later iterations of the FNAF lore, but they get out and they go on a killing spree, or an attempt of a killing spree. That's another thing, by the way. I feel like the animatronics got taken out way too easily, considering they're made out of plastic and are said to be stronger than the originals. So yeah, all of that happens, you know. The puppet actually possesses Abby and starts attacking, you know, Vanessa and Mike using Abby. And then Mike got a music box from Henry, because he went to Henry's while Abby was at like school. Or no, she was at one of the Freddy's locations. And she goes to talk to Henry, or he goes to talk to Henry, and he's like getting all the lore details, blah blah blah. He finds out about the new location. He gets the box, and then he's like tracking the animatronics, and he successfully shuts down, or no, Toy Chica, while she's on stage with Abby. Sorry, I'm telling this out of order. But before the Abby getting possessed scene, there's this massive scene of Abby winning the first place trophy, and Toy Chica's up with her, and then Toy Chica gets a security breach flashed onto her eyes, because she's an animatronic. And then that's when the puppet activates the withered animatronics. And let me tell you, brother, they did amazing on the costume design. I actually felt like I was watching a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, seeing the wizards coming. Balloon Boy comes into the office like he does in, you know, the games, and it was hilarious, dude. I could not stop laughing when Mike ripped off Balloon Boy's head and just threw it. That shit was hilarious, dude. This movie's fun. It's just fun. So yeah, all of that's happening, and he gets attacked by Foxy. And then he starts typing in the code to deactivate the animatronics. And it is successful. So yeah, everyone gets deactivated, and Mike sees another tracker, and he's like, Vanessa, hold up, there's another animatronic at my house. And then Vanessa's like, oh shit, that's the puppet. Or they call her by her name, Charlotte, which I actually kind of like. It humanizes the character. And yeah, she's possessing Abby. Toy Chica's chest bursts open. Not like that, you freaks. And out pops the marionette, which I feel like that's a reference to Lefty. And obviously, if we're only getting 3 movies, they can't directly say, oh, Lefty's gonna be in this. And it's like, they can't do that. So they had to make a reference to Lefty somehow. And yeah, so then Charlotte possesses Abby and attacks them. They set Abby free with the music box that Henry gave Mike. Then we get the reveal that Michael Afton activates the animatronics again, and we find out Michael Afton is, the big bad. Which, here's the thing. I don't know how much of the movie actually, lore-wise, I don't know how much of the movie is accurate to the games. I would always assume that the movies and the games have similar lore, like to a T. So I think this is the first time the lore diverts, or maybe Michael Afton is a bad guy in the games. Which, I mean, the games don't really say that, so it's like I'm wondering if this is just a difference. But we get the reveal. Michael is Michael Afton, which I knew. I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't get the reveal that, oh, Michael was abandoned by William, and Mike Schmidt is actually just Michael Afton. That would have been such a good reveal for the fans, that like, oh, it makes sense why William Afton has such a bloodlust for Michael specifically, and why he like tells Michael to pick up the job. I think, I don't know, I just feel like that would have been so good for newcomers and people who haven't watched the movie or don't know the games. I feel like that would have been such a better storyline for them to eat up. But I understand that this is for the fans, so it's like they don't want to divert from the lore too much. But I just feel like it would make so much more sense why William was so determined to get Mike into the location. That's just me personally. But, yeah. So then Michael is like, hey, I gotta pick up what my father put down. Yeah, so I activated the animatronics. And then, again, this is where another flaw comes in with the movie. There's a lot of flaws with the movie, but most of the time I enjoyed it. Even the flaws aren't flaws enough for me to say, oh, this movie's shit. I think a lot of people are way too critical on this movie for its flaws. I thought the flaws were fun, me personally. I enjoyed this movie. But yeah, the FNAF 1 animatronics come back and demolish and destroy the FNAF 2 animatronics, which, I mean, again, I don't know, it's a cop out, man. But it's not a bad cop out. I do wish the animatronics looked busted up, because here's the thing. Michael was acting like the animatronics were never able to be repaired. They were like never going to be able to operate again. They looked perfectly fine. Maybe a little bit dirty, but that's it. And it's just like, what were you talking about, Michael? But yeah. So that happens. The animatronics pass out because obviously they can't operate outside of Freddy's. And the Golden Freddy kid is like, yeah, this is goodbye, but once I leave, you have to prepare for him being William Afton. Because obviously Golden Freddy was holding William Afton into the main location. And then this is where I thought Michael was kind of. A lot of people in the theater did not like this part. Michael just all of a sudden does a 180 on Vanessa and says, "Stay the hell away from my family." And I'm like, "Excuse me? Michael, Vanessa saved your ass on multiple occasions. She didn't have to. You treated her like shit. What do you mean, stay the hell away from my family? You're dead. I'm sorry. If the next movie assuming Vanessa does not like assuming that Vanessa does not come back to her normal form, Michael's gonna die. And I think he kind of deserves it at this point because he says he can't trust her. Brother, she literally saved you and destroyed her father's belongings. You know that she's not like her father or her brother. Oh no, she didn't tell me about her brother. Good grief, dude. Get over yourself. Just Michael was an interesting character this movie. But as Michael and Abby are leaving the house, we see the puppet floating in the background and possesses Vanessa. And that is how the movie ends. And okay. Here's where the extras come in. I'm going to tell you the extras. Here's a little bit of the extra scenes. The beginning of the movie starts off with Charlotte and Charlotte's backstory on how she became the puppet. So, obviously, if you guys seen the trailers, she sees a boy getting lured in by William Afton. So, here's my theory about that. After watching the entire movie, that little boy is Michael Afton. I'm going to say that. That has to be Michael Afton. Because he gets lured in by William. William takes him in. Vanessa tries getting everybody's attention and all the people's attention. Nobody's listening to her, so she goes in by herself. She brings out the boy onto the marionette stage. And then the boy wakes up, runs into the crowd, and Vanessa dies. That's suspicious. Because she picked up the boy, assuming that he was dead. She picked up the boy, assuming he was dead, brings her out, and screams to get everybody's attention, and we get the reveal that she was stabbed to death. But the boy gets out alive. That's Michael. That has to be Michael, right? Am I crazy for thinking that? That has to be Michael. But yeah, so Michael helped William kill Charlotte. I don't know if William was Charlotte's target. But yeah, so then obviously from the injuries, Charlotte passes out on the stage. The trapdoors open up, and then we get the reveal of the puppet holding Charlotte. Now I love how they did this. So you don't see the puppet until the reveal of Charlotte. So I'm wondering. I think this confirms that the puppet never had tear marks. The puppet never had tear marks. But Vanessa's possession caused the tear marks. That's what I'm assuming. Because every time she possessed somebody, we see the tear marks form. I don't remember what scene it was where we see the tear marks like actually forming. Oh, Vanessa. When she possesses Vanessa, Vanessa's eyes start leaking the purple. So the paint, the painted face, is a part of Charlotte's possession, which we've theorized about before with the marionette, because we don't see the tear marks on um we don't see the tear marks on the puppet that lures Charlotte in the minigame for, I think it was FNAF 6, right? That had you that revealed um the puppet luring or getting lured out by Abby. Okay, anyway. Not Abby, fucking Charlotte. Let me tell you, bro. Here's an additional scene. Um, the people, the reporters, right? The reporters who go into Freddy's and are like, yeah, this is the original location, blah, blah, blah. McKenna Grace, brother, she did phenomenal. I don't know if she's a contortionist, but okay, everybody gets wiped out. Everybody dies in the location, but McKenna Grace gets saved until Mike, sorry. I need to start prefacing their names because, there's two Mikes in the game now, or in the movie. But McKenna Grace did so good as possessed Lisa, I think her name is. Dude, oh my god. This was an awesome scene. Michael is like worried and is like, yo, hold up, this is not right. She goes down to check on the puppet, and that's when we see McKenna Grace, or Lisa, convulsing on the ground, and then we see her possessed. We see the makeup, we see her pale face, the makeup, like the smiley face and the eyes and everything. McKenna Grace, bro, she did so good. Like the way that she twisted her body to run at Michael was phenomenal. Dude, phenomenal. That is so good, dude. And she just did so good playing an evil character. But I do have to mention that I don't think humans ever get possessed in the game. Which, honestly, this opens up new lore, this opens up new ideas for lore, and this opens up the possibility of characters getting possessed in the games, which adds new lore to the games. Okay, an additional scene that actually hints towards FNAF 3. We see these people running around inside of the FNAF 1 location, and they're like, we gotta get stuff before they demolish this place. And then they see the Springtrap outfit, and the guy, one of the characters quotes, "We found a real one." If you guys don't know, obviously that's meant to be a reference to Phone Dude. But then the guy gets freaked out and runs off with his friends, and then we see a little flicker of Springtrap's eye in the location, and dude, this movie was, whew. I was so worried that they weren't gonna reveal his face. They weren't gonna reveal Springtrap until the third movie, which, would have been fine. Obviously build up suspense for the next movie, but I'm happy that we got to see Springtrap, and we see his eye glowing, and then that is the end of the entire movie. But then, just like the the Find Me Easter egg at the end of the first movie, we get a we get Henry sending a voice message to um, Michael, and he's like, "What you need to know about this, I worked with William at the old location. I was his partner, which we knew that, but obviously new fans don't know that. But he's like trying to reveal the puppet's real location, like the original location of the puppet, and that is the next movie. I don't think the next movie is the final movie. I'm gonna be honest with you, because another additional fact in the flashback with Vanessa, because Vanessa uses Mike's, she uses Mike's tactic of sleeping to get over trauma. When she's doing that, she crawls into the workshop of William Afton, and we see Baby. I was freaking in the movie. I was like, dude, there's no way they just dropped Baby in there as some random thing. Like, oh, you don't need to worry about that. um, I thought that was crazy, and that made me think that, oh, we're gonna get 5 movies. We're gonna get a movie about the FNAF 4. Maybe Mike has nightmares, and that contorts the animatronics into his mind. Or Abby grows up and has nightmares about the animatronics. And then the 5th one is going to be just maybe a side piece, a side story about Michael working at the original location. But yeah, the fact that they even mentioned sister location makes me think that we're gonna get 5 movies. Um, which, you know, classic Scott, right? Says that we're only gonna get 3 movies, we're gonna get like 100 movies. But no, seriously, honestly, I'm excited for the future of this movie, or the future of this franchise. I'm excited and I'm happy that um, this movie went well. I really hope it gets. I hope it. I hope majority of the people who see it that aren't critics like the movie. I can understand that this movie's an acquired taste, right? This movie is made for the fans. It's very clear that this movie is made for the fans. And the main point about that, and the proof that this is made for the fans, is Baby. They dropped Baby in there. The fans, or the people who come to see the movie and don't know the games, are obviously not going to know who the hell that is. So unless they're going to make future movies, I feel like Baby is just going to be a nice reference. Also, another thing that I want to mention, Shadow Bonnie does appear in the movie. So if you go see the movie, look out for Shadow Bonnie. Wink, wink. I'm sure there's a lot more Easter eggs and references, like Mike when he presses the toy, the plush Freddy, it goes the horror. And it makes the meme sound, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, look out for Easter eggs. But Shadow Bonnie is the only one that I actually caught, and I was keeping my eye out. So they hid the Easter eggs pretty well. But yes, Shadow Bonnie does appear in the movie. I'm not going to tell you where. You guys have to see it for yourself. But yeah, that was my spoiler breakdown of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. My opinion, my ranking, honestly, 8.5 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10 like the first movie, just because there's like a couple of flaws in there that I didn't like, or that I wasn't a fan of. I should say that. I was not a fan of certain things, but they weren't movie ruining, right? So that's why it's a 9 out of 10, or 8.5 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10, like I said. But yeah, it was a good movie, and I definitely do recommend people to go see it. But make sure to like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications. And yeah, see you guys later.